Hello friends and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am going to give you a progress report. Was the work that I did earlier in the spring, late winter, was it worth it? How are these two gardens doing that spent a good amount of time in fixing up, editing, adding, taking away, pruning, all of the things. So I wanted to give you an update. One of the gardens is looking unbelievable, so gorgeous. Every time I pass by it, I absolutely am in love. The other one looking great too, but real life is happening, so I'm going to give you an update on that and show you exactly how I am going to fix it so that it looks fabulous, darling, all through the summer for our guest here at Creekside Nursery in Dallas, North Carolina. The two gardens that we're going to be looking at. First, the garden here at the entrance to both the nursery and to our home. This is going to be a shade garden, so we have got that. Then we're just going to go right through the gate and we are going to go down to the berm. So we have a privacy berm that separates the nursery from the house, and on the nursery side, it is filled with shrubs and trees and perennials, full sun. And so we're gonna go take a look at that. But first, the one that I'm absolutely in love with, and there's maybe only one or two things that I would change right now. Here we go, my friends. So this shade garden is looking unbelievable. And in my personal opinion, the star of the show, the one that you see first, is the Golden Shadows Pagoda Dogwood from Proven Winners. I was looking back at past videos just a minute ago, and the big final kind of planting that we did in here was 3 years ago, and the Golden Shadows was a 1 gallon container when we planted it. Y'all, it is hard to find. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, it is very hard to find, but if you ever see a Golden Shadows Pagoda Dogwood from Proven Winners, you need to grab it. This is a unique, different kind of dogwood because, as you can see, the branches are very horizontal, and then you get this color. It is unbelievable. It is definitely going to be more for your shade garden. Beautiful variegation too, with that chartreuse edging and that dark green center. It's just finishing up with its bloom time. Little white flowers, but it just screams, look at me, am I not gorgeous and beautiful? So it is living its best life. Again, y'all, 3 years. You gotta give your trees and shrubs some time to get adjusted. But when Mimi and I were here a couple of weeks ago, we added perennials and some annuals and just a couple of other things as well. The Brunnera is doing really well. Put this, of course, underneath Golden Shadows. I love the color difference here. This is the Jack of Diamonds. It will get huge, it will get nice and big. Clearly loves it under here. And then, of course, the other big star of the show is that Hosta. This is Elegans, has been in here again for multiple years and is absolutely a massive, big, beautiful blue Hosta. When Mimi and I were in here a couple of weeks ago, we did add some Aspidistra. So the Aspidistra, oh my gosh, it is loving life. It has not burned at all, so that tells me that it is in the perfect spot, nice shaded area. This is Hercules. Of course, we love Aspidistra because they are for dry shade, and they are evergreen, nice upright habit to them. And then coming on through the I think the Hosta is overtaking the begonias, so that's all right. Honestly, it's fine. And then it's also overtaking the lady in red fern. So you know what that tells me? It tells me, okay, well, the Hosta is the star of the show, and we need to do some moving around. And that is okay, my friends. It is really hard for me to grow massive hostas like this with our heat and humidity. So it's staying. It is not going to get moved. It's not going to get divided. We are going to enjoy this massive beauty. And then what we will do is we'll either move the begonias, definitely need to move the fern because I too love my ferns. So it is okay if things don't go perfect. While it looks amazing, right? There's always a little bit of editing that we have to do back and forth. Do not be afraid to move plants, y'all. It is okay. You don't always have to wait for the exact perfect moment to move them. It is okay. With a little bit of TLC and a little knowledge, you can absolutely edit the garden, make it work, let those plants thrive. So if you love the hosta, let the hosta be and let it get nice and big. If it was that your fern was more important than the hosta, then move the hosta, right? So it depends on what it is that you want in your garden. You are the student of your garden. You are the steward of your garden. So you make the tweaks that you need to make. But overall, I am loving how this is all coming together. We also added the purple dawn camellia, and honestly, y'all, my goal for this year is keep it alive. You can see it looks like it had lost some leaves. We are in a drought right now, but also I see new growth popping out on it. So that's okay. Even though you may lose a couple of leaves, it wasn't in primo condition when we planted it, but however, there is new growth popping, so that is okay. So again, my goal for this year is keep it alive, and because I know things have proven that if you keep them alive and you give them some time and some patience, then it pays off and they do really well. Of course, the prime example is the Golden Shadows Pagoda Dogwood. And then if you will remember those 3 years ago when we planted the Dogwood, we also planted 2 different kinds of Weigela. So this was brand new at the time. It was a tiny little Weigela. This is Bubbly Wine from Proven Winners. I have 3 of them in here and they are doing well. So we've got Bubbly Wine, then we have the Let's Dance Lovable Hydrangea. They were very small, 1 gallons when we planted them. They too are doing well. Probably could use a little extra fertilizer if I'm being honest. I'm sitting here looking at the leaves. They could be a little bit of a darker green. So you could use rose tone, you could use holly tone, a good slow release fertilizer to help darken up those leaves. But we have got buds here, so they are doing really well. Very happy with that. And then the Heucheras, we put in 3 different kinds of Heucheras straight in the ground. We've got Georgia Peach, Georgia Plum, and then of course Southern Comfort. And going in the ground, man, they are doing great and look really, really good. The other hosta that is the star of the show is Sum and Substance. Sum and Substance is going to be a lighter green, massive, huge leaves on it, and of course, the lighter the green, the more sun it can take. So doing really well. The coleus that we planted some coleus and some more of the Eberillo grass in here, and they are still kind of staying a little bit small. That is predominantly because we are in a severe drought right now, and while this bed does have irrigation, there is not a line that goes directly to that coleus. So they're hanging on just by themselves. It's all right, y'all. Patience is a virtue when you garden for sure, but everything else is looking great. The Japanese maple, lovely, beautiful kind of color contrast, along with the euonymus right there. And then we have another Weigela that we planted 3 years ago. When we planted these, they were 3 gallons. So that gives you kind of an idea of the difference between the Midnight Wine Shine and then the Bubbly Wine. But I love the Midnight Wine Shine because obviously it's nice and dark, and we are just on kind of having those pink blooms in there. So really fun kind of color contrast here. But yeah, everything is really, really doing well. The one thing that I do struggle with, y'all, oh my word, is rhododendrons. I have the hardest time with rhododendrons. I have killed more rhododendrons than I would care to admit. And the only two that I really have that look great are at the chicken coop. This one is just, it is like a slow death with rhododendrons around here. I have found that because of our heat and humidity where we are in North Carolina, this is very much in the shade. So technically it should work really well. I don't know. It's just, you know, one of those things like you want to have them. You go up to the mountains of North Carolina and they're absolutely massive and they're glorious and they're huge and they're gorgeous. Here, I just struggle. So this is about one of those plants that I'm about to just say, you know what, I'm gonna go to the mountains and enjoy it. But here at my house, it is just one that I cannot, I cannot successfully grow. Minus the two at the chicken coop. Now they're doing pretty darn good. They had a beautiful display of blooms this spring. So those two get to stay. Probably this one is going to get taken out and replaced with something else, but that's okay. It is just an opportunity to have a new plant in here. And then the urns are doing quite well also. So we filled the two urns right here at the fence with the Surefire white begonias, filled them in nicely. I have water soluble fertilized them one time. They are filling in. Once the temperatures take off, the begonias will take off as well. But like I said, really happy with how everything is doing. Even the lemony lace elderberry is going strong. She tends to have a really strong start early on in the season when it's nice and cool. Then with the crazy heat and humidity hits, it kind of slowly shrinks, but it comes back strong every spring. So there you go with that. But everything is doing well. Cannot wait to watch the hydrangeas bloom and just grow and develop in this space. Now, because we are all about keeping it honest and real with you here at Gardening with Creekside, we were in the berm, oh gosh, that would probably been like 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, where I was moving things, I was transplanting, I was dividing because plants had taken off and some were thriving and we needed to move to make room for those, and then some were on the struggle bus a little bit. We added in new perennials. We had a lot of fun in here, went ahead and mulched it and everything. So what is happening is everything really is overall looks really, really good. But I am about keeping it real with you. I honestly thought about, do I even show this right now or do I wait? And I was like, no, we're gonna show the messes and the successes. We're just gonna go ahead and show it to you now. The weeds, my friend, the weeds are very, very happy here in North Carolina. We may be in a drought, but the weeds have not gotten that memo and they are prolific. So Mimi has just joined me. As soon as I hop off of here, we're going to tackle this 100% because you can see where she just was, right? It's beautiful. Everything is just doing great. The sedums have come back strong. The lavender is doing really well. The new salvia that's going to be introduced is coming out really, really well. But then, oh my dear heavens to Betsy, y'all. These weeds, I mean, they are loving life. They are loving this flower bed just as much as the perennials and the shrubs. So I just want to keep things real and honest with you. That is not supposed to be here. That is a weed. And so I am showing you all of the messes and successes. The Sunjoy Neos are doing great. If you will remember, we had to move the one on the left because it was further back and it was really underneath the Thunderhead Pine. The Thunderhead Pine loves this space and is growing all big and funky, and I just absolutely love it. So whereas the Elegans Hosta takes precedence, this tree takes precedence. So as it grows, we have to move things around. So that's why I had to go ahead and relocate just about, I don't know, about 2 feet this Sunjoy Neo. It is doing really well. But like I said, the weeds. And if you get this, y'all, this, I don't know how I got this. This is Nutsedge, and it is awful. It is terrible because it spreads by runners. You can see where it's like in a little colony. And you can't just like simply pull it. You if you can, but it has, I mean, like these roots on it, and it is an absolute pain to pull. And once you get it, it is really, really hard to get rid of it. There, because you can see how it's like spreading, and see then there's a little piece right here. So that little root is connected to somebody else. So you gotta be really, really intentional when you're pulling this stuff, but it is awful. It is just absolutely terrible. And it looks like we're getting a good bit of it. So yay for us on that. The Shasta daisies, doing well. Again, getting overtaken by some weeds. It's okay, we're gonna take care of it, I promise. And then, oh my gosh, y'all, the Summerific Holy Grails, they are popping. Look at that. I mean, gorgeous. We've got 3 of them. Your Summerifics, it's always so funny because here in the South, man, they pop early and get nice and big for us. And of course, that dark foliage with those red blooms will be stunning. And then we have yet another Weigela. This is Vino Verde. Vino Verde I love, even though it clearly is blooming and doing a gorgeous job with its blooms. It has the coolest foliage. It is a variegated foliage. Something's been chewing on this, that's all right. But it has this gorgeous variegated foliage on it that even when it's not in bloom, it just shows off, and it's just a lovely color contrast. But look at those blooms on this, just lovely. We have 3 of them here. Once they finish blooming, then I will prune them. I'm going to cut them back. So they are they really have taken off as well and are doing really well. And then the Penstemon, look at this. This is the Bejeweled series from Proven Winners. This is the pink pearls. So there's pink pearls and there's rose rhinestone. And y'all, I am so impressed with these Penstemons. Love them, have them in the cottage garden. They are doing their thing and just showing off. And I love that we have a bright pink next kind of to that Vino Verde with that deeper red, kind of that, raspberry red kind of color. It's really, really pretty. And then let's see, coming on down, yeah, the weeds, all the glorious, glorious weeds. So you can tell we have a very fertile soil right through here. So then my question is, as a gardener, is why do I have so many stinking weeds in this flower bed? Because if you remember when we were in this bed and I was moving, transplanting, adding the perennials, we put down a thick, thick layer of mulch. The only thing that I can think of is kind of twofold. One, the weed seeds were already there when we put the mulch down and they've just germinated and they've come up through. 2, this is a different mulch here than what we had up at the entrance bed. The entrance bed is the Daddy Peat. It is the soil enhancer. So it is literally just aged pine bark fines. It is very, I don't want to say granular, but it is very, I don't know what the word is, but it's very light and airy, right? And so if it have weed seeds, they just kind of, they don't germinate because they can't really take hold because it's just this very light and airy aged pine bark. Here we used, it was Daddy Peat as well, but it's called the Landscapers Mix, which is a blend of compost and aged pine bark. So compost, which is really good for the soil, it also provides a fertile bed for the weeds. And so that's the only thing that I can think of. This is also full sun, and of course with full sun, then things are going to grow faster than they do in the shade. So it is what it is, and this is just real life gardening, my friends. I could have easily, you know, weeded this bed, cleaned it up so that it was picture perfect, magazine worthy, and then showed it to you and pretended like I never had one weed, or that my daffodils are, you know, kind of getting sad and maybe about time to go ahead and cut that foliage. I could do that, right? And I could also show you that, hide the fact rather, that my Winecraft Gold Smoke Bush had some dead growth in it from the winter. But that doesn't do anybody any good, right? So keeping it real and keeping it honest, because everybody deals with weeds, y'all. And you ask me that when you see my pretty beds and you're like, well, how in the world do you keep your bed so free of weeds? Well, 1, they're not free of weeds, and 2, when they have weeds in them, we just have to get in there and pull them, right? So the only way we're going to get this cleaned up is to come in here by hand and get everything pulled out. So even though we may have messes with the weeds in here, but we also have beautiful successes like the string theory Amsonia. So we have a nice ribbon of that throughout right here. This native perennial is blooming and it is looking great with those true blue star flowers. It's doing great. We've got Baptisia back there that is coming up. I also have some walnut trees that are coming up. You know, my parents have a field of walnut trees. And every year, the squirrels, they do their part and they repopulate the earth with all of the walnut trees. So we've got one right here, and then we've got one right there. So obviously we've got to get those out. So talking about the Winecraft Gold, y'all, I have no idea why it did this. None whatsoever. This has been in this bed for 4 years now. It's very cold hardy. Nothing has happened to this plant whatsoever, but you can just see that on one side we've got beautiful foliage popping out, and then on the other, we don't. So, I mean, I honestly do not understand why, but it's obviously clearly dead right there. So we have got dead branches in here. I honestly do not know what I'm going to do at this point. I don't know if I'm going to cut it out and then see how it looks, move from there. Who knows? So I'll keep you updated on the Winecraft Gold. Up to this point, I have absolutely loved this plant and have had no problems with it whatsoever. Clearly, this was the year. And then last but not least, y'all, the North Pole arborvitaes. I told Jerry this morning, I was like, my goodness, they have found their root system and they are taking off. When we planted them, they were just at the fence, right? So they were just at the fence, and man, they are taking off and are doing great. Again, just keeping it real with you, my friends, giving you an update. Was it worth it, all the work we did? Absolutely. Does it mean that there's not more to do? No, there's always things to do in the garden, and that is why we are in here. But again, love this bed. It has tons of interest just with shrubs and perennials, and of course the trees as well. But you just have to get in there and work it, my friends. And sometimes, you know, the weeds are more happy than the plants are, but it is what it is, and we're just going to get in here and take care of it. Mimi and I are going to go ahead and get this weeded, get this cleaned up, so stay tuned, because thanks to TV Magic, here in just a second, you're going to see it all pretty and pristine and neat and tidy and ready for an amazing summer. Does that mean that we're going to weed it now when we never have to weed it again? No, regular basis, my friends. This will be a continual basis that we have to come in here and weed. As other shrubs, you know, wake up and grow, I'm looking at the Pugster pinker butterfly bushes that I'm thinking of. As they get nice and big and develop, then they will, you know, have a canopy so that the weeds don't have as much sun underneath them to go ahead and germinate and grow. But it is the fun of gardening. Plus, I will say it is very satisfying to see it when it's messy, and then at the end when it's all cleaned up. So that is a little bit of a progress update on these two gardens that we have spent some time in this early spring and in the late winter. As always, we hope you found it fun, informative, inspirational. Stay tuned because you're going to see it all pretty. Y'all have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.